Normally she sends one of the kids to pick Shannon up from school, but there was no one there. That was literally like the last time I saw her.
The first thing that goes through your head, if your daughter's missing, is who's got her?
Literally, from the moment she'd walked out of those school gates, there was not one positive sighting.
How can Shannon go missing on a estate like that when everybody knows each other?
Hundreds of police are involved in a desperate search tonight.
There were lots of people on the sex offenders register who not only had direct links to Shannon's family, but also lived in close proximity.
It was one of them things you had to live it to believe it.
He says, has anybody spoken to Michael Donovan? He normally comes here nearly every day. Since that little girl went missing, he's not been once. I walked up the flight of stairs. I found another door that was locked. No door handle, no lock. It was clearly bolted from the inside. So I told them to put the door in. We just stood for a moment and the flat was eerily silent. I did a quick cursory look round the flat to discover it was empty. There's deathly silence. And then I heard a little girl's voice. We had her. She was alive. It was very emotional, I have to say. As I'm descending the stairs with Shannon, Nick came up. I've got her.
It's no secret, you know, two grizzly old detectives with tears in their eyes, basically. As I say, we thought we'd saved a life.
It was unbelievable because, as I said, we thought we were looking for a little girl's body, and she was alive and well.
Found less than a mile from where she was last seen in Dewsbury, Yorkshire, police broke into a flat, it's thought after a tip-off, and found Shannon in a divan drawer, unharmed.
Family and friends of missing 9-year-old Shannon Matthews are tonight celebrating her remarkable rescue.
You could feel the difference in the mood on the moor. It was like a pin had pricked the tension There was people everywhere, and all they wanted to do was have a party.
I think when you heard Shannon was back.
Just excited.
Yeah. What was the first thing you said when you heard Shannon was back?
She's coming out.
How much are you looking forward to seeing her?
Loads.
Literally everybody that was involved, like all the neighbours from up there and all kids that knew Shannon and family and stuff were there, and everyone just would have over at me, actually over at me.
First time I saw Karen after Shannon was found, I asked her how come she hadn't been able to see her. And she said because social services were having to ask her questions and police were having to ask her questions. Said that she'd seen her through a glass window. She seemed okay. She didn't seem worried or anything. We were all surprised that she wasn't allowed to see her and hold her, because that'd be the first thing that I wanted to do, but she seemed to accept it. I think the people in the community were more bothered about not seeing Shannon than she were. We all expected Shannon to come back on the estate, expected life to go on as normal, but no, it didn't happen.
The decision was made that a protection order would be taken out on Shannon, and so any meetings from there on had to be organised with social services, and at their behest really.
She wasn't returned to the family home, so the media were all on hand waiting for the big reunion picture with happy mum and smiling daughter outside the house at Dewsbury Moor, which never happened.
Karen Matthews emerged from her house this afternoon after 24 unbelievable hours. This must have seemed surreal.
When she went out, we had to tell her to smile. When she went out and did the TV bit, so it was as if she didn't know how to react.
She and her boyfriend Craig were clearly nervous, but who can blame them? From inside, friends shout, smile.
The expressions on the faces are incredible. Craig seems to be trying to smile. Karen's face is the one that stands out. It was like stone, like it had been cast in stone. It was unmoving. There wasn't a smile there. There wasn't a flicker of anything. And then there was the kiss between them. Not a word from either of them. And that really seemed strange. She'd been very keen on occasion to speak to the press and media during the search. Now the daughter's been found, nothing.
Home alone, Shannon Matthews' mum returns, but not yet with her daughter. Good evening. The agonising wait goes on tonight for the mother of Shannon Matthews.
Desperate to see her young daughter finally return home, but given no clue by police when that reunion might happen. Detectives are still going through the delicate process of interviewing 9-year-old Shannon
to try and find out exactly what happened during the 24 days she was missing. In the past hour,
where Shannon was found, a computer was apparently removed. A close friend of Karen Matthews says the man under arrest is an uncle of Karen's boyfriend Craig, but she says he was never in their house.
He's obviously a family member, but not a close one. And I know for a fact Karen and Craig knew nothing about it.
This is for Shannon. That night when Craig and Karen came back, family were already having a party in their house. When we found out where she was found, it sort of like put a damper on the celebrations, because we knew that that wasn't the end of it. It was just like chapter 1 finished and going on to the next chapter.
When can Shannon come home? A police statement tonight suggests not for the foreseeable future. Today they were granted a 24-hour extension to keep questioning Mick Donovan. This was him leaving court. At the flat where he lived and where Shannon was found, evidence was removed. Amid claims and speculation, Karen Matthews and her boyfriend Craig are trying to get back to some kind of normality. It isn't easy.
Having carefully considered all of the material supplied to us by West Yorkshire Police, we have made the decision that there is sufficient evidence and have authorised that Michael Donovan be charged with kidnapping and false imprisonment.
During the course of an investigation like this, you will seize computers to see if you can find any evidence. It may well be that there was something on the computers that Shannon might have had communication with somebody. It might have given us some indication as to what happened to her or where she'd gone. We'd seized all the family computers, and during the examination of those computers, we'd found child sexual abusive images, shocking child sexual abuse images.
The time, 27 minutes to 8. The search for 9-year-old Shannon Matthews is now one of the biggest of its kind ever undertaken by West Yorkshire Police. Well, yesterday I talked to both Shannon's mum and Craig Meehan. There's been a lot of coverage of not least your family, your parents and your brother, talking about how Shannon had a difficult, and your other children had a difficult relationship with Craig.
No. That's untrue.
I'm quoting your parents. We've never seen him, Craig, beat Shannon with our own eyes, but the kids have said it's happened. They've suggested that Craig was hitting Shannon.
No, look, he hasn't. Never, ever touched her. Never.
Police arrested Craig Meehan and charged the 22-year-old with possessing indecent images of children on his computer.
Detectives searched the house and took away several bags of evidence.
Excuse me, gentlemen, please. Thank you. Craig Meehan was arrested and charged with having a number of sexual images of children. Obviously, it was of some considerable concern.
A big shock for everyone, because everybody's supported Karen and Craig.
I got a phone call saying Craig's been arrested. So I went down and I asked what for, and she said something to do with porn. So I says to Karen, I said, what do you mean porn? And she went, I don't know, they just told me porn. And I just said to her, I said, well, it ain't rocket science. I said, it's obviously child porn, it's got to be, can't be anything else. People were angry, obviously people were angry. At the end of the day, the kids had been in his garden and everything else, and as soon as kiddie porn's brought up, that's it. I didn't know what was happening. It was just people asking questions and I didn't have the answers to the questions. police rung me and says to me, can you keep hold of Karen's kids? I think it got to about 5:30. And then I got a phone call and they said, can you take them down to community house? But just do it as though you're going on a normal walk. So I said, yeah, no worries.
During the time Shannon was missing, I built quite a bond because they were young, and I don't know, I think I kept them occupied so that everybody could go search and Karen didn't need to worry about them. And then it was time to say goodbye, so give them a cuddle, and as soon as that door got shut, the tears started, and then my mum went and handed them over.
So we went down to community house and we were waiting and waiting. It got to about 6:30 and Karen came through the door. They just said to Karen, you know what's gone on today with Craig, don't you? And she went, yeah. And they said, we'd like you to sign the kids over to be put in temporary care till it's all blown over. Reluctantly, she let them go. Karen were obviously crying, but I think I was more heartbroken than her.
My mum was still crying when she got back from handing kids over to social services. It was. I just don't think anybody wants to do that.
The community started to turn somewhat on Karen, and she was becoming very, very vulnerable. They were really annoyed that she'd been living with, as they saw it, a paedophile in Craig Meehan.
You just got to the point where nothing had surprised you. Nothing had surprised you about what were going on from then. You couldn't put your finger on what was wrong, but there was something not right. Natalie lived closer to Karen than I did. She just told me that there was something not right, and I said, right, I'll get a meeting together. Let's get to the bottom of this. So I rung Karen and I said to her, there's questions that only you can answer. So she agreed. The arrangement we made was to meet in Batley Town Centre in a lay-by. Christine, the liaison officer, drove Karen down. Steve, the local bobby, drove me and Natalie down. And then we just all got into Christine's car. I was sat behind Karen and Natalie was sat behind Christine. We just wanted answers. It started off with, why did you want to leave Craig? She says, I didn't. Natalie asked why she had bags in the hallway, ready to leave him. And Karen just kept saying, I didn't, I won't. And then I said, so look, you need to come out with truth. I said, I'll never fall out with you, I'll always be your mate. You just need to come out with truth. And then all of a sudden, she just went, I did it. And then the tears started. I felt shocked, disbelief, angry that she'd wasted all that time. But also pity that she'd left it so long. Poor Christine, liaison officer, just looked at us in bewilderment, and then she got out of the car, made a phone call.
Christine rang me immediately, told me what she'd said, and then I instructed that she should arrest her.
And then she came back and then charged her with perverting the course of justice. When we got down to the police station, I walked Karen to the cell doors. When I left, Karen looked like a little girl lost. Karen says to me, do you promise that you'll come and see me? And I said, yes. And I just left her there. And I just said, I'll see you later.
My mum came back and she was crying. I think my mum was so upset because she'd been played a fool, so to say. Like, she'd organised so much, she'd given up time with her own kids for it all to be fake, for none of it to be true. Me and my mum were heartbroken that night, and then we started to watch interviews back and go back over everything to see what we missed.
I had a lump in my throat, but that were all. But I just think it was like the final piece at Jigsaw. And it were done. She gave various reasons and excuses almost, and accounts, but none of them are particularly plausible in my mind. And that's not unusual in my line of work. You will always interview people. You will always want them to explain what they did and why they did it. But sometimes you just got to accept that the truth can be hard to find. Some people find it difficult to actually tell you the truth at the end of the day. She'd met Mike Donovan at Craig's father's funeral, the wake. She'd got chatting to him, and she'd said that, you know, she was fed up of him. She didn't want to be with him anymore, and that Donovan had effectively offered a refuge for her and her children. He would pick up Shannon from school, and then she would pick up the other two children and make her way to his flat. Donovan did his part, but Karen either forgot the day or changed her mind. And when she got home and Shannon didn't materialise, Craig says, where is she, where is she? And as time progressed, she clearly didn't know what to do, and she called the police and reported her missing.
Shannon Matthews' mother will be prosecuted in connection with her daughter's disappearance.
Well, 250 officers and 60 detectives were involved in the search for Shannon Matthews. It took 3 weeks to find her alive. 3 weeks later, and detectives have brought a case against her mother. And I understand their investigation is still not over.
Just over an hour ago, a statement announcing charges.
We have decided that there is sufficient evidence and have authorised that Karen Matthews be charged with perverting the course of justice and child neglect.
Tonight, Karen Matthews' house was boarded up. She told the world she'd lost her daughter. Now she may face losing her liberty.
Family were looked at, and the connections with Karen, Donovan, Craig, Meehan were all looked at closely, and arrests were made of quite a number of the family.
to try and establish whether or not they'd been involved in the disappearance of Shannon. But there was no evidence to link them to the abduction. And whilst it was suspicious, and those suspicions led to their arrest, there was a lack of evidence to link them to it.
He was able to leave the car. He left by the back exit. He was in the back of a police car with his mother next to him, and there was a police car with the blue lights on at the front and the rear. So he was effectively given a police escort out of the back of the magistrate's court, was never seen again.
Good riddance, I suppose. At least he's not coming back on here.
It was a highly charged atmosphere. Matthews and Donovan cut pretty pathetic figures in the glass dock. They didn't look at each other and didn't show much emotion, kept their heads down.
The prosecution case was that the overwhelming likelihood was that the case was motivated by the desire to make money out of obtaining a reward. She could see that rewards were being put up in similar cases, particularly the McCann case. One of the tabloid newspapers put up a substantial reward, and Karen seemed to be focused on obtaining that reward. There was so much evidence that showed that Donovan had, over a period of some weeks, kept Shannon hidden and concealed. Donovan's assertion was that Karen had persuaded or indeed dragooned him into accepting the care of Shannon, and she was to be picked up by him and kept in his flat.
Michael Donovan gave evidence that he'd cared for Shannon. He'd gone out regularly on shopping trips to buy food for her.
Inside the flat, there's a loft hatch. Hanging from that loft hatch was like an elastic noose. On the end, it had a loop that was probably tied around Shannon's waist.
The tether that the police found, so sinister, mapped out so that she could get to certain points in the flat but couldn't get to the front door.
The belief being that had been deployed when he'd left the flat to go do shopping.
That was a very unusual thing to find, even in a case of kidnap of this nature. It clearly indicated a very dominant personality, somebody who intended, at least in my view, to keep Shannon completely subdued and obedient.
Also found within the flat was a drug called Travelese, which is a travel sickness tablet, and temazepam. Donovan was on quite a number of prescribed drugs, and certainly those drugs were found within the flat. Now, when Shannon was recovered, she gave a urine sample, and the significance of that would be that we could determine that those drugs had been administered within the previous 36 hours. Well, those drugs clearly do make somebody drowsy. Whether it was an extreme measure to pacify an energetic child, I have no idea, but it was all very shocking.
She said she was forced to take the blame for what happened by the person she trusted most, her partner, Craig Meehan. She told the court she was scared of Craig.
She even told the court that on quite a few occasions, Craig Meehan had raped her.
The assertion of the prosecution was that Karen, throughout this case, had told one lie after another. Donovan's defence largely seemed to rest as a matter of shifting the blame onto Karen Matthews, saying essentially it was her plan, her idea, and he'd been pushed into doing what she wanted.
Also found within the flat was a piece of paper. It was handwritten, and there was about 4 or 5 different rules that you've got to keep quiet, stay away from the windows, don't have the TV volume above a certain level. There's some DVDs that you can watch, but only these ones. And then at the bottom of it, in large letters, were the letters IPU, which was a phrase that Karen and Shannon used, and it stood for I promise you.
Shannon would look at it, look at those 3 words and think, it's going to be all right, because my mum says it is. Disturbing. A method of control on the daughter, even when the mother wasn't there.
Karen's lack of concern for her welfare was quite marked. Karen had gone shopping for a period of about 3 hours after Shannon was alleged to be missing and before making a 999 call. That was, in the view of the prosecution, clearly significant. My view was that that was very significant in pointing possibly to the fact that she knew where Shannon was, showing also her total lack of care for the child.
When the toxicology report from a section of Shannon's hair came back, and it showed that she'd been drugged over a consistent period for 20 months, so from when she was found in Donovan's flat, back to what we worked out to when she was 7 years old. This was way before McDonovan had any involvement. So somebody, probably Karen Matthews, maybe somebody else as well, were involved in the deliberate sedation of that little girl.
I think my reaction, like many other people's reactions, certainly anybody who was a father of a daughter, was one of a combination of amazement and disgust as a human being.
She was standing steadfastly to the fact that she'd had no involvement.
Of course, when she gets into the dock and she's making denial after denial after denial, all these wild allegations, all these different versions of the story are thrown back at her. She is tied up in knots. She continues to lie, but which lie does she stick to? Because there are so many. Even in a run-of-the-mill court case, the atmosphere when you're waiting for the verdict to come back can be pretty tense. This was absolutely electric. The jury comes back in, and the jury foreman stand up. It was put to him, have you reached a verdict on which you are all agreed? Yes.
The ultimate betrayal, the mother who put greed before her own daughter's safety.
Today, Karen Matthews, along with her co-accused, Michael Donovan, Shannon's uncle, was found guilty of kidnapping her own daughter.
The judge made some interesting closing remarks. Effectively, he said that he didn't believe that Karen Matthews and or Michael Donovan could have been responsible for doing what they did, just the two of them, acting alone.
Everybody knows we haven't heard the full story. Everybody knows we haven't. He's just turned around and he said that, you know, sat on his bench, he's just turned around and said this is not the full story. So obviously it's not the full story, and if Karen ain't going to break and say what the full story is, what can us little people, if you like, do to help her? There may be some truth in what Karen said about she wanted to leave Craig, but when I've spoke to police and I've said I think other people are involved, all I get off the police is you find me the evidence, but if Karen's going to take the can for him, that's Karen's choice.
Police emergency. Hiya, I want to report my daughter is missing, please.
Hundreds of police are involved in a desperate search tonight for a 9-year-old girl.
Shannon, if you're out there, please, darling, come home. I love you so much. Me and your dad, your brothers, your sisters, everybody loves you. Your dad's missing you so much, Shannon.
There's only one explanation. That it had all gone too quick, too big, too soon, and the terror that you see is the terror of her being found out.
Come home, Shannon, if you're out there, come home. If anybody's got my daughter, my beautiful princess daughter, please bring her home safe.
It's a performance. It was all there. The trauma on her face, the red eyes from the tears, the black rims from tiredness, the way that she spoke.
Well, it's hard to sleep, really. It's just, I wouldn't feel the same with them not being there, really. It just feels empty.
She knew that her daughter would be found.
Well, I think that somebody out there will know Shannon was supposed to probably know me as well. And it's just, I just want her home safe, really.
Karen couldn't control what she was saying. She couldn't keep concealed her own knowledge of what was going on.
It's beyond most people's understanding how a mother could come up with such a plan, moreover execute it, and then for 3 weeks under the glare of international spotlight, play act in front of the cameras, and go through with this. I think most people still look at it with some incredulity.
I find it a little difficult, though not impossible, to believe that she was the begetter of the scheme. It may be that in the course of conversation, Donovan came up with the scheme that Karen fell in with and executed, because without her, Shannon could not have come into Donovan's hands. There was clearly a degree of planning and premeditation with whatever was going on.
Karen never approached anybody for a reward, which to me says that she wanted it for the money. I think she just wanted out of a relationship. Like she said in the back of the car, she wanted out of the relationship.
Many people gave a lot of time, effort, and what money they had to help find Shannon. And all along, Karen knew the truth. And yet she was at the centre of all this. And that, I think, was in some ways the most grievous ill of a very unhappy case.
My mum, she'd organised so much, she'd given up time with her own kids. for it all to be fake, for none of it to be true.
I feel like the whole community were let down. They all came out, they all did what they did. We were just foolish enough to believe every word that that were coming out of her mouth and the family's mouth about this child missing. As a community, I think we should still be proud of ourselves. It was one of them things you had to live it to believe it, or live through it to believe it.
I can't believe how a mother could plan the disappearance of her daughter, and it's one thing that will never be forgiven. If I saw Karen now, I wouldn't say a word to her. I'd just walk past her, because I couldn't do that to any of my children. I couldn't do that to anybody's child.
Karen made a big mistake. She's lost everything because of this. She's now living a lonely life. 12 years later, I think everybody should just put it to bed now and let Karen get on with her life, let the kids get on with their lives, let the estate get on with their lives, and just let it die.
It was upsetting, and it still is, knowing that I'm not going to see her. I literally lost my best friend. Like the only person I'd want to talk to and want to be around. I generally hope she's living the life that she wanted now. After everything she's been through, she deserves to be happy.